A very warm welcome to all my dear students. Welcome to another exciting lecture of law with me, CA Preeti Agarwal. This is an all in one revision. You call it a summary revision, writing practice batch, or an exam oriented batch because it covers everything in brief with writing practice. We are not only going to cover the concepts in a summary format, but we are also going to write and practice each and every concept in my chart book. So, this revision lecture is it through my chart book. It's an A3 size color chart book which covers all the concepts in a summary form. We will be revising the concept and then there is space for writing practice. So we will write the keywords, the key phrases, sentences. These are words which you should write in the exam. They will help you to get very good marks in the exam. So this is a writing practice of the concept. After this, I will also give you homework questions. You will attempt those questions. I will explain the format. You will attempt those questions. You will send it to me for checking. I will verify the papers and I will connect with you to discuss your performance. So it is a writing practice batch, not only of the concept, but also question answers. Okay, this chart book is available on my website, capreetyagarwal.com. And you can also enroll in this batch by visiting my website, capreetyagarwal.com. Links are in the description box. Students' lectures are also available in Hindi English mix. Now, this is a series of lectures in English only because I feel that your exam is in English. And many students, they are not able to attempt the law paper properly because they listen to lectures in Hindi, they understand in Hindi, they think in Hindi, and they expect themselves to write in perfect English directly in the exam. That is not possible. So I believe that when you listen in English, when you understand in English, and when you start thinking in English, only then you will be able to write in proper English in the exam and complete your paper in 3 hours' time. Otherwise, when you frame sentences directly in the exam, you may end up spending a lot of time in framing the answers and you will end up leaving 10 to 15 marks of minimum questions in the exam. I don't want you to do that. So listen in English, understand in English, start thinking in English so that you can write amazing answers in English in the exam. All the links are given in the description box. If you still have a doubt, you can connect with me on my mobile number, which is mentioned in the description, as well as on my website, capreetyagarwal.com. Without wasting any time, let us proceed with our discussion. In my previous session, I had covered the essential elements of a valid contract. We had made notes. This is a writing practice batch, exam oriented batch, summary batch. It is an all in one batch. So we will first discuss the theory in a summary form because it is of no use to directly write and practice unless you have gone through the theory. It is very important to revise the concepts first. So we will do a revision, then we will do a writing practice of the concept. The writing practice charts are given in this chart book itself. This will give you an idea of the keywords, key phrases that you should write in the exam, and then I will give you homework questions which you will attempt and send it to me for checking. So you will get a writing practice of not only the theory but also question answers. So enroll quickly. This batch is available on my website, capreetyagarwal.com. Okay. So in today's session, I'm going to discuss the concept of offer and acceptance. Okay. We will be covering the types of offer, the rules of offer. We will also discuss the difference between offer and invitation to offer, something which is very important for exam. And then we will proceed with acceptance. I have divided this lecture into two parts. In the first part of the lecture, we are going to just discuss the concepts. Once you are done with the revision, I want you to attempt these blanks. I want you to fill them on your own and then you watch the discussion video. This will also give you a lot of confidence, whether you're able to recall the concept, whether you're able to identify the keywords. If you don't have confidence, then you can go through the writing practice with me and you can write along with me. Okay. So I'm dividing this into two parts. So we will be discussing the theory today, and in my next part, I will be doing the writing practice. Okay. So first, let us go through the essentials of a valid offer. In case a question is asked in the exam on what are the essentials of a valid offer, you cannot just start writing the essentials. First, you will have to define an offer. Okay. So the definition is given under section 2, clause A. It is very easy to remember. Offer is the starting point of contract, and offer is defined under section 2, clause A. So clause A, that is the starting point of a contract. And yes, acceptance will be under section 2, clause B. That's the definition of promise. When one person signifies to another, now how to learn the definition, because you cannot write the definition in your own words. And nowadays, institute will not give marks if you write everything in your own words. So 60-70% should be written in technical language and the remaining can be written in your own words. But if you do it the other way around, you will not get marks. So how to learn the definition as it is? Break the definition into small parts and it will be very easy for you to learn it. Let's do that. When one person signifies to another his willingness either to do or abstain from doing anything with a view to obtaining the assent of the other, then he is said to have made a proposal. When one person signifies to another, the meaning of the word signify is communicates, or he makes it known to the other. So when one person signifies to another, this also shows that I need two persons to make a valid offer and ultimately to make a valid contract. I cannot give the offer to myself. Offer requires two persons. Through the definition, we will also be able to find the essential elements of offer. That is why I am discussing the definition in detail, because from this definition, you will come across the essentials of offer. So, offer must be made by one person to another. He is signifying, he is communicating his offer. This communication may be by words, oral or written, or it may be in writing via letters, email, fax, etc. It can also be a face-to-face communication. So, through some means, you're trying to communicate your offer to the other person. And what is he trying to communicate? His final willingness either to do or abstain. Abstain means not to do something. This is the positive aspect of offer, and this is negative aspect of offer. The meaning of the word abstain is not to do something. Okay, there are different words which are used for this negative aspect of offer. It is abstinence, forbearance. These words indicate the negative aspect of offer, that is not to do something. Okay, so offer includes both positive as well as negative offer. You're abstaining yourself from doing anything, and why are you doing all this? What is your aim? With the aim of obtaining the assent. Assent means consent of the other person. Then he is said to have made a proposal. Now close your eyes and try to learn this definition. See, this is how we learn. This is a revision lecture, but this is also a learning lecture. So now close your eyes and say, when one person signifies to another his willingness to do or abstain from doing anything with a view to obtain the consent of the other person, he is said to have made a proposal. So 2-3 times, just close your eyes and repeat this definition. When one person signifies to another his willingness to do or not to do something with a view to obtain the assent, the consent of the other person, he is said to have made a proposal. Just close your eyes and 2-3 times, just repeat this definition. Okay, pause the video, repeat the definition 2 to 3 times, and then you can resume watching the video. Pause right now. All right, students, so I'm assuming that you have already done the exercise given to you. Let us proceed now. From this, we can now understand the essential elements and we will discuss them in detail. So, there must be one person who is making the offer to another person. So, when one person makes an offer to the other person, because you cannot make an offer to yourself, so we need minimum two persons, one who is giving the offer and the other person to whom the offer is given. You cannot give the offer to yourself. There must be an expression of willingness. This is my final wish, my final desire to do or abstain from doing anything. Abstain means not to do anything. And why are we doing all this? We want to obtain the assent of the other person. If I'm just making a statement without the intention of obtaining the consent of the other person, then that's not an offer. If I just tell you that I wish to sell my car for rupees 10 lakh, that's just a wish, it is just a statement, it's not an offer because it is not made with the intention of obtaining the consent of the other person. So there must be an expression of willingness, and this expression must be made with a view of obtaining the assent, the consent of the other person. I am not merely making a statement, I'm not merely disclosing the intention. I have highlighted the words which you should write in your answer. Sometimes we know and we don't write it properly, that is why we don't get marks. So it is important that you mention the keywords properly. Okay, so this is something which you have to write in your answer. So mere expression of willingness, meaning I am expressing, what is the meaning of willingness? I am expressing my wish. I am expressing my desire. I am just making a statement, then that is not an offer. I must say something with the intention of obtaining the consent of the other person. If I say I just wish to get married by the end of this year, I'm just expressing my wish, my desire. That's not an offer. Did I say, will you marry me? There must be an expression to do or abstain from doing anything. This is the positive aspect of offer, and abstain is the negative aspect of offer. Now, to do something, that is, will you buy this pen? That's a positive offer. Not to do something, it means that I will not file a case against you if you pay the outstanding amount in 2 days' time. Not to do something, I will not file a case against you if you pay the amount in 2 days' time. That is the negative aspect of offer. Both constitute a valid offer. Then we have the classification of offer. Offer may be classified into general offer, special or specific offer, cross offer, counter offer, standing open or continuing offer, express offer, and implied offer. What kind of questions are asked on this? Mostly case-based questions are asked. So you can write over here case-based questions. Okay, CB means it is important for case-based questions. Now, what are the key points of a general offer? General offer is an offer which is made to the public in general. It can be accepted by anyone who has knowledge of the offer. He comes forward and acts accordingly. A contract is made with a person who, having knowledge of the offer, comes forward and accepts the offer or acts accordingly. So it is an offer which is made to the highlight public at large. Okay, so it is made to the public in general. Who can accept it? Anyone can accept it. How they can accept it? By performing the desired act. Now, sometimes students tell me that, ma'am, we find it very difficult to learn. We are not able to learn the provisions as it is. I'll teach you how to learn it. How will you learn? It is made to the public at large. Okay, so now the offer is given. Who can accept it? It can be accepted by anyone. Okay, it can be accepted by anyone. How will he accept it? By performing the desired act. So link the previous word with the next word. Okay, so this is how you will learn. So it is made to the public in general. Who can accept it? Anyone. How will they accept it? By performing the desired act. There was a very famous case law over here, that is Carlyle versus Carbolic Smoke Ball Company. So this case law is very important for exam. You need to know the name of the case law. What's the meaning of special or specific offer? Special offer is an offer which is made to a specific person and it can be accepted by that person only. So just two sentences over here. It is made to a specific or a certain person, or a certain person, that is a specific person, and it can be accepted by that person only. Okay, so 2 points to remember over here. It is made to a specific person and it can be accepted by that person only. What is the meaning of cross offer? Cross offer means there are two identical offers exchanged in ignorance of each other's offer. I was not even aware that the other person is giving the same offer. So what are the keywords over here? There is an exchange of identical offers in ignorance of each other's offer. These are my keywords. There are identical offers in ignorance of each other's offer. It is not binding because there are two offers. There is no acceptance. Write that over here. There are two offers. There is no acceptance. This will not be a valid contract. It is not a valid contract. It's not even a valid offer. It will not result into a valid contract. Now, I called you to ask whether you will come for a movie with me, and at the same time you sent me a WhatsApp. Are you interested in going for a movie? We both are giving the same offers to each other. This is a cross offer. There are two offers, there is no acceptance. This will not be a valid contract. Counter offer is nothing but bargaining. I gave you an offer, you rejected that offer, and you gave another offer. So it's a new offer altogether. What are my keywords? The offeree offers to highlight qualified acceptance subject to modifications, variations in the terms of the original offer. Counter offer is rejection of the original offer. You can also write down that it is a new offer altogether. Counter offer does not amount to acceptance. So you can write it like this if you want. So counter offer does not amount to acceptance. It is a new offer altogether. Okay. So what are my keywords over here? It is qualified acceptance subject to certain modification, variations in the terms of the original offer. Counter offer does not amount to acceptance. It is a new offer altogether. Counter offer rejects the original offer. See how very easily we are able to write so many keywords in the exam, around 6 keywords in the exam. Let's learn it over here only. It is nothing but qualified acceptance subject to certain modification, variations in the terms of the original offer. It amounts to rejection of the original offer. It is not acceptance. In fact, it is a new offer altogether. Once again, it is a qualified acceptance. It is subject to certain modification, variation in the terms of the original offer. Counter offer amounts to rejection of the original offer. It is not acceptance. In fact, it is a new offer altogether. So this is how you will learn the key points. Standing open or continuing offer, it is an offer which is allowed to remain open for acceptance. Okay. So it remains open for acceptance over a period of time, that it is known as standing open or continuing offer. I had given you an example. Let us discuss the same example over here. This was the example that I had discussed with you during the lecture. Let's say that A is a construction company and they have recently acquired a tender to construct a flyover for which they require 1 lakh cement bags. So they have invited bids or they have invited tenders from various suppliers. Okay, so let's say, for example, that XYZ PQR, they are all cement suppliers. They have bid, they have submitted the price at which they are ready to supply the cement bag, but Z was ready to supply the bags at the lowest price. So we accepted his offer. Now A is inviting the bids. This is nothing but invitation to offer. So he is inviting people to bid. XYZ PQR, they have given the offer. Whose offer was accepted? Z's offer was accepted. Okay, so did you understand the sequence? First we have the invitation, then you have offer, and then you have acceptance. We told Z that we don't want the cement bags now. We need it over a period of 2 years. This flyover will take 2 years to complete. So we need it over a period of 2 years. He said, don't worry. My offer will remain open for acceptance for 2 years. You let me know the number of bags that you require. So this offer, which is allowed to remain open for acceptance over a period of time, in my example, 2 years, such kind of offer is known as standing open or continuing offer. Then A placed an order for 10,000 cement bags. Then he placed an order for 20,000 cement bags and another 20,000 cement bags. In a span of 2 years, he placed an order of 1 lakh cement bags. Each order placed, okay, each order is acceptance of the open offer of Z. Okay, each order placed is acceptance of the open offer of Z. So this offer, which was allowed to remain open for acceptance over a period of time, is known as standing open or continuing offer. Then we have express offer. Express means it is expressed in words, either spoken or written. Implied means words are not used. It is inferred. Inferred means understood from the conduct of the parties, facts, or circumstances of the case. Conduct means action of the party or the facts or circumstances of the case. So, those were the types of offers. Then let us go through the rules of offer. Okay. Offer must be capable of creating legal relation. Now you tell me which kind of offer will result in a legal relation. Business, commercial, social, domestic. Exactly. So just write over here, in case of business or commercial transaction, there is always an intention of creating legal relation. But in case of social or domestic, there's no such intention. Offer must be communicated. It may be either by words, oral, or written. These are my keywords. This much is sufficient for me to recall the concept. Or it may be by action or conduct of the parties or the facts and circumstances of the case. So, do you want to buy this pen? It's an express offer. A bus is running on a fixed route. It's an implied offer. Okay, it is by the conduct of the parties. We board, that is acceptance. So, yes, sometimes it may be express or implied. Offer must be certain, definite. It must not be vague. What is the meaning of vague? It must not be confusing. It must not be ambiguous. Here we had discussed an example during the lecture, that the lecture, in the sense, these are my regular lectures. I'm revising that through the chart book. So if I offer to sell you oil, I'm a dealer in different kinds of oil, like coconut oil, sesame oil, groundnut oil, and I agree to sell you 100 liters of oil. The kind of oil is not specified, terms are vague, it is not a valid offer. But what if I'm a dealer in coconut oil only? Then it need not be specified because it is understood. Then the kind need not be specified. Offer may be conditional. But what are the two requirements of condition? Yes, if there is any condition, then it must be properly communicated. Okay, so it must be communicated. The conditions must be communicated. And also, the conditions must be reasonable. What is reasonable? It is not defined in law, but it depends upon the facts and circumstances of the case. So you can impose a restriction, but it has to be reasonable. Like, I offered to give you my flat on rent, but there is a condition that I will give you the flat only if you are a vegetarian. So X offers to rent his house only to a vegetarian. He has imposed a condition. Condition is reasonable. Agreement is valid. Offer must not contain a term, the non-compliance of which amounts to acceptance. Offerer cannot say that if you don't accept it within this period of time, I will assume that you have accepted my offer. So there cannot be a presumed acceptance. There cannot be a presumed acceptance. Like, I say, will you marry me? And if you don't reply by today evening 5 o'clock, I will assume that you have accepted my offer. Offer must be communicated. Acceptance must also be communicated. You cannot presume that if it is not accepted before a certain date, I will assume that you have accepted my offer. That's not a valid concept. So presumed acceptance is not valid. This is enough hint for you to elaborate. Offerer must communicate certain special terms or standard form of contract. See, if there are special terms, they must be communicated at the time of offer. If you communicate later on, then the offeree is not bound by those terms and conditions. So if there are certain terms and conditions, please communicate them along with the offer. Subsequent communication will not bind the offeree. if there are certain standard terms of contract, standard terms means these are all standard type of contracts. Now, you go to a bank, they will give you the same form for account opening that they give to 100 other people. Okay, so in case of banking, in case of hotel, in case of dry cleaning, the bill is the same. Yes, the contract is the same. There is no variation. They're all standard type of contract. If there are any special terms and conditions, then you please communicate them along with the offer. Okay, so in case of standard time, you have to communicate the terms along with the offer. Subsequent communication that will not bind the promisee. What if these terms and conditions are written in a language that is not understood to the promisor, like in a foreign language? Then he should ask for translation. If the offeree does not ask for translation, then we will assume that he has accepted those terms and conditions. So if there are certain special terms and conditions, then they must be communicated along with the offer. Offer must be distinguished from invitation to offer. This is very, very important for exam. Okay, this is very, very important for exam. Many students, they are not able to write this distinguish in the exam, so I have given you it in a proper format. See, if I tell you, do you want to buy this pen for 10,000 rupees? It's a definite offer. You can accept or reject it immediately. But if I say that, do you have 10,000 pieces of this? Tell me the price at which you will supply. Then that's not an offer. In fact, it is an invitation to offer. I say, do you want to buy this laptop? Okay. So you can either accept or reject immediately. But if I say I want 5 pieces of this laptop, tell me at what price will you supply supply it? Then that is invitation to offer. So invitation is actually inviting offer from the other person. So offer is very definite. These are the key points. You just need to elaborate these key points in the exam. It is very definite. It is capable of converting an intention into a contract. But invitation to offer is just what are the keywords? It is a circulation of offer. It comes before a definite offer. Please learn these two bullet points together. Okay. So offer, let's close our eyes. Offer is very definite. It is capable of converting an intention into a contract. Invitation to offer, it is just a circulation of offer. It comes before a definite offer. Again, offer is very definite. It is capable of converting an intention into a contract. Whereas invitation to offer is just a circulation of offer and it comes before a definite offer. So two points you will learn together. Okay, this is a final expression of willingness. It is my final willingness. I want to sell this. Will you buy it for 10,000 rupees? You can accept or reject it immediately. So it is a final expression of willingness. It can be accepted or rejected immediately. But invitation to offer, it is just an attempt to induce offer. It does not become an agreement. In fact, it is inviting offer from the other person. When you give the offer, that is not acceptance. Offeree can be bound immediately. Here there is something more to be done. Okay. Pharmaceutical Society, this is very important case law. You need to learn the name. Pharmaceutical Society of Great Britain versus Boots, Cash, Chemist, Southern Limited. You have to learn this case law. You can write the facts in your own word, but the name is very important. Okay, this name is very important. There is one more case law. If yes, you can tell me the name. Correct. Very good. It is Harvey versus Facey. Okay. So Harvey versus Facey. Harvey had sent a telegram asking 2 questions. Facey simply replied, "This is not an offer. It is only an invitation to offer. It is only replying to your message." So Harvey versus Facey. Then yes, offer may be express or implied offer. It may be general or specific offer. All right. Next, let us discuss the essentials of acceptance. Acceptance, how is it defined? It is defined under Section 2, Clause B. When a person to whom a proposal is made, he signifies his assent thereto. It means he is giving his consent thereto, then he is said to have then the proposal is said to be accepted. So how will you learn this? Let us break it. When a person to whom the proposal is made, he signifies his assent thereto. Signifies means he communicates his assent. Assent means consent thereto. Okay, then the proposal is said to be accepted. Now let us close our eyes and learn it. When a person to whom the proposal is made signifies his assent thereto, then the proposal is said to be accepted. Okay, so when a person to whom the proposal is made signifies his assent thereto, the proposal is said to be accepted. What are the rules of acceptance? Acceptance must be absolute and unconditional. Please highlight this as very, very important for case based questions. Okay, very important for case based questions. Acceptance must be absolute and unconditional because acceptance must be as it is. Offer must be accepted as it is without any variation, without any changes or any reservation. If I make certain changes, then it is not an acceptance. In fact, it is a counter offer, and counter offer does not amount to acceptance. It is a new offer altogether. A conditional or a qualified acceptance is not an acceptance, is merely a counter offer. Counter offer amounts to, what are my keywords over here? Rejection of the original offer. It is nothing but rejection of the original offer. It does not amount to acceptance. It is a new offer altogether. There are certain things which I have not written on purpose because I want you to recall and write. This is a writing practice exercise. You have to write along with me. So a conditional offer or a qualified acceptance, that's not a valid acceptance. Acceptance must be a mirror image of offer. If you want, students, we can also write few extra words over here. You if you want, you can write that the acceptance, okay, you can write acceptance must be made without any reservation, modification, qualification. These are my keywords. It must be a mirror image of offer. It means that the offer must be accepted as it is without any reservation, variation, any qualification or any condition. You can also include the word condition. There are so many keywords over here. If I make certain changes, then that is a counter offer. This is a counter offer. Counter offer does not amount to acceptance. In fact, it is a new offer altogether. Okay. So these are the points. These are the keywords which you can write in your answer. Acceptance must be given to the person who has made the offer. Now tell me, general offer. Who can accept a general offer? Anyone who has knowledge of the offer. What about special offer? It can be accepted only by the person to whom the offer is made. Acceptance must be communicated to whom? Offerer. By whom? Offeree or authorized person. See, acceptance can be given only by the person to whom the offer is given. It means acceptance can be given by the offeree, but communication can take place either by the offeree or any authorized person. Okay, so who can accept? Only the offeree or anyone who has knowledge in case of general offer. So only the offeree can accept, but who can communicate that acceptance? It can be either by the offeree or any other authorized person. What is the case law relevant over here? I have not printed that because I want you to write and practice so that you can write and practice the spellings. One very famous case law, Powell versus Lee. It's frequently asked in the exam, Powell versus Lee. L is also capital. There is one more case law over here. Yes, if you're able to remember, Brogden versus Metropolitan Railway Company. If you want, you can write that name also. Brogden, so that this is a writing practice for you. Versus Metropolitan Railway Company. Okay. Silence does not amount to acceptance. Acceptance must be communicated. What was the case law over here? Feldhaus versus Bendy. I have left space so that you can write case law so that we learn the spellings. We should not make any mistake in the spellings. So just thinking mere mental or uncommunicated acceptance is not acceptance, it must be communicated. Sometimes silence amounts to acceptance, but not always. Acceptance must be in the mode specified. So if it is in the mode specified, very good. Otherwise, you can reject the deviated acceptance. Like we had discussed an example in our lecture. X offered to sell his bike to Y and he wanted Y to communicate the acceptance by courier only. What if Y sends courier? Very good, offer is accepted in the mode specified. But what if Y sends regular post? If Y sends regular post, then X has two options. He can either reject that or he can accept. But if he accepts, then later on he cannot reject. Okay, he may either reject or he may accept the other mode. Okay, so in this case, he may either accept it or he can reject the deviated acceptance. Time. If time is specified, acceptance must be within that time. But if nothing is specified, then reasonable time. Acceptance must be given before the offer lapses or it is withdrawn. Lapse means it comes to an end or before it is withdrawn. Like I gave you an offer and I withdrew it. You knew about it. Offer is withdrawn. You cannot accept it. I had given you 7 days time to accept. You did not accept. Offer lapses after 7 days. Then you cannot accept it. Acceptance may be expressed in words or it may be implied from the conduct. Here, just write the example. Uh, from conduct, it may be bus running on a fixed route. It is an implied offer that I am going to the station if you want, hop in. Then there was one case law where you could understand implied acceptance. That was Carlyle versus Carbolic Smoke Ball Company. Also, bidding at an auction. That is also implied offer when you raise the card. That is implied offer. Here, if you want, you can write Carlyle versus Carbolic Smoke Ball Company. Just writing practice of the spellings. So these are the various rules of acceptance. Now, it is important for us to learn the head points because you can elaborate in your own words, but head points are important. So just close your eyes and learn. No, just don't close your eyes and learn. Learn and then close your eyes and then and then you can, say it aloud. The acceptance must be absolute and unconditional. It can be given only by the person to whom the offer is made. It may be communicated either by the offeree or any other person. Silence does not amount to acceptance. It must be given in the specified time and it must be given before the offer lapses or it is withdrawn. It may be either expressed or implied. The last part is communication of offer and acceptance. Yes, communication. Now, I'll give you a format. If you follow this format, you will never go wrong. X wanted to sell. Okay, so X wanted to sell his flat to Y. So he wrote a letter. To sell his flat to Y for rupees 50 lakhs. Now, this letter of offer was posted on 5th of April. It reached Y on 7th. Y read it and he sent his acceptance on 8th of April, which reached X on 10th. Now you tell me, when is communication of offer complete? All the dates go cross. So it is complete on 7th. What about communication of acceptance? As against the offerer X, communication is complete on 8th, that is when the letter is put in the course of transmission. That is when it is posted. What about as against Y? When is the acceptance complete as against Y? As against Y, it will be completed on 10th when the letter reaches X. Okay, so for X, a contract is made on 8th, and for Y, the contract is made on 10th. That is when the letter reaches. What about revocation? By when can we revoke offer? Before we are bound by the contract. So revocation of offer can be any time before 8th of April, that is before we are bound. And revocation of acceptance can be at any time before 10th, before we are bound by the contract. What are the other provisions that we need to remember? Revocation must be by a faster means of communication. Revocation must be by a faster means of communication. What if the letter of acceptance and revocation reached at the same time? Okay. So if the letter of acceptance and the revocation reached at the same time, then what will happen? Whether a contract is made or not, that depends on whichever letter is opened first. So it depends on whichever letter is opened first. What if this letter gets lost? Then X is bound by the offer, but Y, if his letter gets lost, then the contract is voidable at his option. He will decide whether the contract is to be treated as valid or not. Another point which you should remember for exam. Y received the letter of offer on 7th, but he read on 8th. Then when is the offer communicated? When he reads it on 8th. Okay. When it comes to his knowledge. So whenever he reads it, knowledge means he reads it. That is the day when the offer is communicated. So I have covered all the extra points also. When is the offer communicated? That is when he reads it. What if the letter of acceptance and revocation reach at the same time, whichever letter is opened first? If the letter of acceptance gets lost, then the contract is voidable at the option of Y. Revocation must be by a faster means of communication. So revocation must be by a faster means of communication. So these are the extra points. All right, students. So with this, we come to an end of our super quick revision, summary revision, writing practice, exam oriented revision for exam. Yes. So this was the chapter on offer and acceptance. In my next session, I had told you I will divide the lecture into 2 parts. In my next session, we will write and practice again all these keywords. Now everything was shown to us. See, everything was on display. We just had to recall. Now everything will be closed. Okay. And we will have to recall all the keywords, write and practice. So you can first solve this on your own. You can write it on your own and then you can discuss it with me. But I am going to revise all the keywords with you. All right. So I'll see you in my next lecture. Watch this immediately. Okay. Write it on your own and then watch the lecture immediately after this. Students, in case you wish to enroll for this batch, link is given in the description box, or you can also get in touch with me. My mobile number is also mentioned in the description. Admissions are open for this writing practice batch. You will get a chart book, that is a A3 size color, big chart book, which you can use for writing practice. And it is a very good book for last minute revision also. The batch includes an A3 size color chart book and these lectures. So don't think twice. Let us prepare well for your exam. Get in touch with me and let's ace this exam with flying colors.